The new Dead by Daylight Alan Wake half chapter got released yesterday, and I feel like it's appropriate that we summarize the entire chapter in a bit of a nutshell, to say the least. So I feel like to kickstart us off, I feel like it's quite appropriate to address, the new perks and the perk changes. Shadowborn was changed to remove the FOV increase, but instead add 10% haste when blinded. However, it does not work with Lightborn. Save the Best percentage decrease on basic attacks was changed from 5% to 4%. And now, if you hit your obsession with a special attack, you also now lose 2 tokens instead of not losing any when using a special attack. Hex Ruin got a buff this time, but yeah, not very good. So, whenever you kill a survivor, the perk no longer deactivates. Grim Embrace has also had a little slight rework. So when hooking a survivor, you'll gain a token, and when you move 60 meters away from the hook, all gens will be blocked for 12 seconds. This can happen 4 times in the match, but after the 4th time, the perk is no longer be able to use for the rest of the game. A perk change has happened sadly to Monitor and Abuse, but nothing really has changed besides the fact that you no longer get an FOV increase. And now that we've covered all the perks that have been changed, let's now move on to the new Alan Wake perk. First of all, we've got Champion of Light. Now, when you are using your flashlight, you gain 50% haste. Now, that sounds okay, but when you successfully blind the killer, they get 20% hindred for 6 seconds. That 100 slows them down, which is really good for gaining distance. However, this perk does have a cooldown of 60 seconds. Now, Alan Wake's second perk is Boon Illumination. Now, this perk does not seem good in the absolute slightest. When you have successfully managed to bless a totem, when you are only in the totem's range, you have to be in the totem's range, you see the auras of all chests and generators, which will be highlighted in blue. Now, that perk is not very good in the slightest, because you should not be using a boon perk to just see where generators are. Yes, it's beneficial to the team. The only really good thing I can see about it is the fact that you cleanse or bless tomes 10% faster when it's lit. Now, Alan Wake's last perk is, in fact, Deadline. Now, for this perk, skill checks appear 10% more frequently when you repair a generator or heal someone at random places, a bit like the Doctor. And the only real good thing about this perk at all is that the penalty for missing skill checks is reduced by 50%, which overall is not very good. Now that we have all the perks covered from this update, I feel like it's appropriate to move to the biggest change in this update, which was the Billy change. Now, first of all, what's changed with the Hillbilly is that you get a nice little blue visual effect. The charge speed is increased to now 5% faster, and the sprint got increased ever so slightly, not by much. But now there's this new mode named Overdrive mode. This mode increases your movement speed to 13 meters per second, and starting the chainsaw is now increased by, you guessed it, 10%. Now this lasts for 20 seconds, and with the visual game plan showing you now, let's just say Hillbilly is going to probably be one of, if not the best killers to use right now, solely because of how fast and efficient his overdrive mode really is. Because he is just generally so fast, and he may be just a tiny bit broken. So Blight's had some add-on changes, which is pretty nice, because Blight's pretty overpowered. His Blighted Rat increases rush speed by 2%, was 4. The Blighted Crow got changed, and it increased rush speed from 6%, it was originally, but it's now 3. The Adrenaline Vial increases maximum rush tokens by 2, increases rush look angle by 20 degrees, and increases rush speed by 5%. However, it can be adjusted functionality. The Alchemist Ring increases rush duration by 20% for each consecutive rush. Compound 33 increases the turn rate by 11% for each consecutive rush that travels at least 3 meters, up to a maximum of 33%. And finally, the Iridescent Blight tag enables Rush to be performed without spending any tokens. Rush bonuses are capped at 3%, after 3 consecutive rushes. Blighted Corruption goes on cooldown for 20 seconds after a lethal rush attack, missing a slam, or breaking a pallet with, Blighted Corruption. Now, that was quite a lot for Blight, and Blight wasn't the only other killer to get changed. Onryo also got changed. Now, I'm not too sure about Onryo's change, but let's just say her condemned mechanic is now actually better to play against if you're a survivor. And finally, the last thing that has been added, as a matter of fact, added to Dead by Daylight is Alan Wake.